The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 4 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 3 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 2 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMic with Big Mike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 1 minute. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 30 seconds. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
One mic.
I'm back.
It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Live,
Ain't no goddamn tape.
interactive, and on demand. One Mic. Yeah, a sports show.
The best move of LeBron's career, man, was dragging his sweaty ball sack right across Draymond Green's the nape of his neck and getting that dude suspended.
And so much more.
What's going on right now with Donald Trump? This is America, and it tickles me to death when white people are so shocked and appalled by it.
What? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Of course, it's like anything, like ammonia or you sniffing glue is gonna get you high.
You've been warned. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky, he's real loudmouth, he's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Yes, sir. Welcome back from the weekend, man. Welcome in to the One Mic with Big Mike show. I, of course, am your host, Big Mike, being heard right now on Spreaker.com. That's spelled Spreaker.com. So make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a damn friend. You can also get that Spreaker app in all your app stores for all your mobile devices. You can hear me there as well. You guys can also hear the show live on TuneIn, as a matter of fact, if you already got that app on your phone. So a bunch of different ways you can get involved with the show, or you can hear the show. You can also watch me, for all you watchers out there, on Facebook at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE at One Mic with Big Mike is my Facebook page. I'm streaming live video via Facebook Live there right now, so you can head on over there and check that out. Speaking of Facebook Live, you can also interact with me during the show via my Facebook page by leaving your comments, questions, your criticisms, or whatnot below the video. You can also text the show at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104, or you can jump inside my live interactive chat room. My man I Am No Doze is here bright and early to start the show off, telling me that the opening is hilarious. Dude, is that the first time you've heard the opening? Probably, because it plays early in the show. I get you guys don't show up until like late, like most Negroes do. So you know how that goes.
Niggas. N-E-G-U-S, niggas.
All of you. Every last one of you. But yeah, he's in the live interactive chat room. To get in there where he is, all you got to do is be listening via Spreaker. Then you'll see a little thought bubble icon sitting right there on the streaming player. Just click on that. It'll get you inside the live and interactive chat room. All right. A couple more things, I guess. You got to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at One Mic with Big Mike. Same as my Facebook page and all that good stuff. As far as today's show goes, it's my first show in a couple days. I wasn't here on Friday. Last week was just a tough week, man. I felt like crap all week last week. I did the show on Wednesday because, of course, I have a standing appointment with my fantasy football guy, Matt Latofsky. But, I just couldn't last week, man. And this week I feel a little bit, cleaner, a little bit more up to it. But, we push through, right? We get through. So as far as today's show go, at the bottom of the hour, 7:30, with no guest tonight, I give you guys a trip back in history, my segment called On This Day, where I give you guys some historical tidbits and factoids on this particular day, things that happened on this particular day in history. As far as content goes, I got a bunch of stuff that happened this weekend and over the last couple of days, man. Some college football stuff, like everybody in the world who shouldn't have lost. Same thing happened in the world of pro football yesterday, which kind of just brings me to the entire, like, the entire genesis and the crux of tonight's show. It's just like, nothing. All you people who listen to these sports talk shows or watch these sports talk shows on TV or listen to these sports talk shows on radio and love to react to stupid stuff like power rankings and people's predictions and record predictions and all that kind of stuff. It's all garbage. And sports fans are entirely the most idiotic people in the world. Have to be, other than the person that runs this country. Like, that's in a category by itself. But amongst regular people, as regular as you guys can be conceived to be, sports fans are awful. So I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about some stuff within the world of college football, some stuff that happened over the last couple of days that kind of disturbed me a little bit. It should have disturbed you guys as well as the NFL. I got Colin Kaepernick conversation. He did something today that a lot of people think is past due. I'm not one of those people, and the way some of you reacted to it lets me know exactly how ignorant you are as a sports fan. You know what I mean? Like, what he did, and I'll get to it here in just a second, is nothing new. You know what I mean? It's happened before, and it's led absolutely nowhere for a variety of different reasons. But first, let me get back to where I was at. You know, with the criticism of people who say they love sports, and sometimes you love sports in too much of a weird way. You know what I mean? Like think about this real quick. Think about everything you thought at the beginning of football season, right? Everything you heard at the beginning of football season. And now ask yourself now, we're into like 6 weeks of it. Ask yourself now, how many of those things actually have come to fruition? People have changed. Teams, guys have gotten hurt. Teams you thought were good, and think like here in Atlanta, a team that people made themselves to believe was good, isn't that good. And I think now the pendulum in this city has swung to the total opposite side now. It went from like, yeah, you know, raise your hand if your team is undefeated when they was what were they, 4-1? And 2 of those losses could have gone easily either way. The Detroit win, you know, a different throw, the lack of a hand on Golden Tate's back allows him to get into that end zone 1 second or a half of a second earlier. A drop pass in Chicago in game 1. That's 2 losses right there. But people took the old Bill Parcells philosophy that you are what your record says you are. In this case, that's not true. That wasn't true. This team has a lot of growing pains to go through. You just don't get new coordinators in, especially one that's a drunk. If we can keep it real. You can't trust no damn drunk. You don't bring no drunk in here and be like, yeah, he's just gonna pick up the pieces and we're gonna keep on rolling to where we were. Nah, it just don't really work like that. But now, you know, the torches and the witch hunt is out. Oh, Sarkisian's a bum. We should have ran the ball because everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. Everybody hates Matt Ryan again. The 2016 MVP is a terrible quarterback again to some people, and it's ridiculous, you know. But that is the nature of being a fan. Here's something that I asked, and I'm glad my man I Am No Dose is here with me because he can help me. He can help me sort this out. I asked this question on Facebook the other day because I wanted to know. There's a dude that lives somewhere around here because I see him all the time. He drives a Camaro, but the Camaro is totally outfitted to commemorate the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's black and gold, and it literally has Steelers on it, and it has a little Steelers logo on it and everything. Totally. And like I've seen the dude, like when I go down to the what is it, the Dollar General to get me a Mountain Dew Code Red, not Code Red, what is it called? The Mountain Dew drink with the puppy monkey baby, that drink. When I go get me one of those, I see him down there sometimes. He's not a young dude. It's not like some 18, 20-year-old dude. It's a grown man. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what's the limitation on that? Or is it one of those things that you do when you're young and stupid, but you don't, as a grown man, have the money to reverse it? You can't really trade the car in because you screwed the trade-in value all the way to hell. So now you just have to drive it. Like, I want to ask him, but I know how stupid y'all fanboys get. And I don't want no problems with nobody, you know, over something stupid like that. But I really want to see him one time and ask, like, dude, like, what's the deal with that? Like, you just love the Pittsburgh Steelers that much that you want to drive around every day in a car that wasn't paid for by the Steelers? You drive around promoting this team that, I don't know, does really nothing for you financially. Like, they pay people. That's the thing I don't understand about fans. Like, as you get older, like, I don't understand that. He says, I am No Dose in the chat room saying that old ass man still hitting on nearly 20-year-old thoughts. Yeah, I mean, probably. Because I don't know that life. I've seen other cars around here. Georgia, like the Georgia Bulldog thing here in Atlanta is very, very weird. And I'm from here. I've lived here all my life and I've never understood it. 1980, was it 1 or 1980? I was 3 years old when they won a national championship. I don't understand why I should feel that type of love for that team because I knew nothing of that when I was 3. And I get it because my man Callaway is like into that, and we've had this conversation before. And it gets kind of like passed down throughout the generations. And my dad, he wasn't a sports guy, so I kind of just got to learn sports on my own and figure out, you know, find my own way through. But I don't get it. Like, for example, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, when I was in 8th grade, they won a national championship. Now, it was a shared national championship because that kind of thing was still a thing back then. People voted for the national championship. But really, anybody who knew about college football knew that Georgia Tech was the actual national champion that year, because the other team that they shared it with, the Colorado Buffaloes, in one of their games during the season, they got 5 downs to beat, I think it was Missouri. They got 5 downs. The referees and the people who were holding the sticks, they lost count of the downs, and they ended up getting 5 downs to beat Missouri, which, you know, if they had lost that game, which they should have lost the game, would have given Georgia Tech the outright national championship. So my point in saying that is, the more recent national championship in this state was won by the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So if I was going to find some sort of allegiance toward a team, it would be towards that team, not the team that won a national championship when I was 3 years old, when I couldn't remember it if I wanted to. It's one of those weird things that I'll never understand. Maybe, and I always do this thing where I say it must be me. It must be me and not them, because everybody else seems to be very comfortable with it. Like people who have never, ever, ever, and could never get into the University of Georgia. If you gave them a key, they couldn't get into the school. Walk around with like tattoos, like those G tattoos on their bodies. And I say to all right, if you love it, if you like it, I love it, I guess. I don't know. Like that, the fandom thing, even when I did consider myself to be a fan of teams, like it wasn't that serious to me. And now that I'm a grown man, like I'm a real grown man with like actual responsibilities, it definitely ain't that serious to me. This dude on Facebook the other day said, if you from Georgia, and you're not a fan of the Falcons, you need to leave. I was like, and tell me how much money the Falcons are paying me or you? And dude was like, so what, you can only be a fan of the team if they paying you money? I was like, nah, but for me to take something that seriously, I probably need to I probably need to be taken care of in some way. You know, for me to take it that seriously, where like if you're not a fan of the team, you need to leave. And he was like, well, it's about having state pride. And I was like, well, what about people in North Dakota? They don't have any professional team. They shouldn't have any state pride either. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's the biggest con that gets played in this country, where rich people find a way to get poor people on their side, to where people start fighting over these teams. You know what I mean? You see the videos on social media, dudes that's fighting over these teams. And why? In the blink of an eye, if like for example, here in Atlanta, and people just seem to forget about this kind of stuff. Arthur Blank, when he wanted that dome built, the new dome that the Falcons playing, when he wanted that dome built, and it was unclear where all the money was coming from, he played that LA card. You know, now I don't know how serious he was about moving the team, but he went out there, took a meeting with some real estate people in LA just to kind of push the issue a little bit. You know why? Because he loves the people in Atlanta so much. Get your man, whatever. You know what I mean? Enjoy the sport for what it is. But like these people who get all butt hurt, like yesterday about the team losing and giving up a 17-point lead to the Dolphins, I was like, look, that's how things kind of work out. The league is going to tell on you. You know, when you have deficiencies, as the games go on, the league is going to tell on you. You don't get away with that Detroit situation, or you don't get away with that Chicago Bears situation throughout an entire season. Eventually, the same way you won that Chicago game, you're going to lose another game. And it happened to be this Dolphins game. When the game started, I posted, how did the Falcons get back-to-back bye weeks? Because the Dolphins suck, and Jay Cutler is a turd. Absolutely 100%, he is a turd. And the Falcons find a way to lose to him. Julio Jones, they had a touchdown, I don't know, all year? Yeah. Julio Jones, they scored a touchdown all year? Yeah, there's problems and there are deficiencies in this team. And when it's like people who have a dumb child. You know what I mean? Like the people who refuse to see how stupid their child is, you're a bad parent. If you got a dumb child, get him help. Don't ignore it. Don't keep telling them how great he is. Don't start talking about how it's other people's fault, the way they do here in Atlanta with the referees. They cheat and they hate the Falcons. No one hates the Falcons. No one cares about the Falcons at all. You know what I mean? Like, as fans, you barely care, to be honest with you. You care because they're moderately good now. Couple losses here, you'll stop caring immediately. So anyway, some other things that happened yesterday. in the land of the National Football League. And I'm keeping my man I Am No Doze up to speed with this because he's protesting due to the fact that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. And I got a lot to say about Colin Kaepernick here as the show rolls on. You know what I mean? Not just about him filing the collusion suit, not just about that, but some other stuff too. Some things that are being said that it's just people being stupid and allowing stupid people to win. If you listen to the show enough, you know my thoughts about stupid people winning. They shouldn't, and ever never should stupid people win. But that's what's happening now. Donald Trump and the other people who follow him and the other people who want to talk about respecting flags and troops and first responders and all this kind of craziness, they're winning. And they shouldn't be because they're idiots. The Raiders, think about all the stuff, again, that you thought and heard and people prognosticated and people predicted at the beginning of the season. The Raiders, Super Bowl bound. They bringing back beast mode. Yeah. Old running backs. There's no place in the NFL for them. And I know what you're saying. Did you see what Adrian Peterson did yesterday? I sure did. I also saw a guy named Emmitt Smith have a couple of those games in Arizona as well for the same team. Because here's the thing about guys like Adrian Peterson, guys like Emmitt Smith, greats. They always have something in the tank. A little bit left in the tank. Guys like Kobe Bryant, that could score in his final game of his 20-year career, scored 60 points. I don't care how many shots it took him to get it. He scored 60 points because that's another feat. Like the amount of shots it took him to get to 60 points, a lot of people like my age or his age, right? You put them in the gym by themselves and ask them to put up that many shots. They pass out. He's doing it against, kind of against defense. I mean, the Jazz, for a good portion of that game, I know they were playing like, I don't want to hurt the GOAT, because if this happens in his final game, somebody's gonna catch hell. But then towards the end of the game, they wanted to win the ball game, but it was too late then because somebody like him, again, he's a great. So then by that time, the bucket had opened up, the basket opened up for him at that point, and it was like he was in that proverbial zone as they speak of. Same thing happens in football. Guys who are great, not the good ones, the greats, Emmett, Adrian Peterson, Brett Favre. You'll see those flashes, but you're not going to see the things that made them great, which is the consistency, the ability to do it game in and game out. So, while Adrian Peterson ran for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first game, you can attribute a lot of that to, let me show these cats, to adrenaline, to the fact that the Buccaneers suck and they probably didn't even game plan for him. He just got traded there, like midweek. Yeah, because I was talking about it on Wednesday, the one show I did last week. Yeah. So with that being said, let's give it some time. Like, people and fans, you guys love to overreact to things. Give it some time. Let it play out over the span of this season. And we'll see where Adrian Peterson lies, because I don't believe that the NFL is a place for young running backs. I don't. This is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here live on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn. Make sure you guys go to Spreaker, man. Sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. Whether you're listening live or you're listening on demand, go to Spreaker, sign up for your free Spreaker accounts, and make sure you're following the show. That way, when the show goes live, you get an alert. Hey, I Am No Doze. Are you getting an alert at 7 when the show goes, or at 6:55? I start the show at 6:55 to make sure I can take care of all my pre-show stuff I need to take care of beforehand. So the show actually starts at 7 o'clock, but you'll get the alert at like 6:55 or so. And you guys made me think of something too when you said that old ass man still hitting on them 20-year-old thoughts. That made me think of something, going back to the conversation about, people driving around in cars that commemorate their favorite teams. I have to blame the women in their lives. You know what I mean? Because if you can do that, and a woman will still have sex with you, it's really not your fault. It's their fault. It's your fault, ladies. Those men should not with actual women. Now, if you some kind of meth head or something like that and you don't know no better, okay, cool. But like a real woman, just a normal everyday woman, if you're having sex with a man who's driving around, a grown man, like I'm 40 years old, so someone around like my age, the people on Facebook told me the other day that the cutoff limit should be 25 for that. So let's be generous and make it 30. Some dude that's 30 plus, and he's riding around. He always got on his favorite team jersey still, and his car has Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons all over it. Now, I'm not talking about if your dude has the Atlanta Falcons flag in the window or whatever, you know what I mean? Or he puts the Falcons hat in the back window. I ain't talking about that, or one of those decals or whatever. I'm talking about the custom paint job guy. You know what I'm saying? That has the whole car painted to commemorate whatever team he likes, or in this case, probably loves. It's got to be an automatic breakup. That's got to be what they call like irreconcilable differences when it comes to divorce. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to precipitate the change, man. You can't have that, man. I don't care how much you love that dude. Apparently he loves something more than he loves you. I didn't mean to go back to that, but I thought about, I looked up and saw the comment that my man had made, and it just brought me back to that place. Even if it's a young broad, grow up, broad. Like even if you're an old dude, sugar daddy, you know, riding around with some young thotties in the car, stop. If those girls have daddies, that dude needs to be shot in his ass for messing with your daughter with that car. For that reason only. You know what I mean? Exactly. See, this is a grown man talking. I am no Dozer saying, I don't even want the dealership name on my car. I'm not doing no crap like that, like them dudes be doing. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Again, like you going to the game, you about to go tailgate. Yeah, you throw your flags in the window or whatever. You know, rep your squad or whatever. You know, I understand the fandom, but that's a little bit too far. In my opinion, it's a little bit overboard. You know what I mean? So anyway, 404-902-8104 if you want to text in on this particular issue that I have with that. And I got issues with a lot of stuff when it comes to fandom. I mean, it'll come out throughout the duration of the show. 404-902-8104. You can drop me a line here on Facebook at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE, where I'm streaming live video right now. Shout out to the homie Craig Brown, the homie Derek Jackson, Shay Brooks checking in here on the old Facebook live stream. So yeah, other things that happened yesterday that shouldn't have happened. You know, if you go by, you know, the things that the trends of things that have been happening, the Steelers beat the Chiefs, undefeated Chiefs up until yesterday, right? Alex Smith has been playing out of his mind. They got the kid, what's the kid's name? The kid from Toledo in the backfield, a young rookie, Tyreek Hill on the outside. They got Kelsey, you know what I'm saying, playing tight end. They got a nice little squad out there in Kansas City. The defense is for real. But the Steelers went in there and took care of their business. Look, let me tell you something, man. I know where I'm at. I know I'm in Atlanta. And I know here in Atlanta, folks love number 11, right? But that Antonio Brown, no one can cover him. No one. He's in this space right now. If you guys remember when Ocho Cinco was at his best, you know, when he was at the top of his game, and it felt like no one could cover him. Antonio Brown is at that level plus some. The catch he made yesterday, man, come on, B. He avoided getting knocked the hell out. One, the DB deflected the football. He just reaches out with one hand and takes it 60 yards for a touchdown. Come on. That's absurd. So when you see that dude on the sideline throwing damn coolers, yeah, he should. He knows he's always open. He's a 7-Eleven of wide receivers, period. My man Big L's in the chat room. What up, Big L? He says the Chiefs are not ready for Pittsburgh. It seems that way. They got their number, man. The Chiefs can beat everybody but the Steelers. You know, Le'Veon Bell did his thing last night. He's rounding in the form after missing all of training camp with that contract holdout. So he's rounding in the form very nicely for them. Here's something for my man. I don't know if people been talking to you about this, or if you've been hearing people at the JO talking about this, but your Saints been playing defense, bruh. Like after the first couple of games of looking like straight doo-doo on that side of the ball, the last few games, I mean, and coming off that bye, now they gave up a little something late in the game to Matt Stafford, but that's Matt Stafford, and that's how he kind of operate. You know what I mean? That late game heroics type stuff. But watching the game, they're playing defense in freaking in New Orleans, and not to mention that they're playing defense, but we want to talk about what Adrian Peterson did without the Saints. Did anybody see the Heisman Trophy winner, Mark Ingram, 150 yards? Anybody check that out? No, nobody. And he did that against a real defense too. Like up until yesterday, and maybe even today, I haven't looked. They've been leading the league in takeaways. They being the Detroit Lions. So it's not like he did that against some little riffraff defense like that. Whatever they doing down in Tampa Bay. Like my man Mike Smith is probably about to get the can again. They don't get that thing turned around because now Jameis Winston got like a what is it called? A C joint, whatever. His shoulder's messed up now, so that's real. Your man Ryan Fitzpatrick is down there playing quarterback now. One of the many men who, guess what, ain't better than Colin Kaepernick. 39 quarterbacks, by the way, have been signed since Colin Kaepernick has been a free agent. I'm going to run down the list in the next segment. Please believe it. We gonna get into this situation. Last night, the Giants, as pitiful and as doo-doo as they have looked, beat the Denver Broncos. Ran all over them. Orleans Darkwa, Melvin, what's his name? Melvin Ingram, kid from Mississippi, Ole Miss, I mean. It looked like a whole different team. And here's the thing about that. Here's what we talk about when these head coaches are these control freaks. This is why I like what they're doing out there in L.A. with not the Chargers, by the way, the Rams. The young guy, 31-year-old Sean McVay, I think his name is. He don't pay attention to nothing else. He called the plays on offense. Wade Phillips is like 90 years old. Been a head coach 3 million times. He knows what he's doing. He don't need to micromanage Wade Phillips. If they need to know if they need to challenge a play or not, he can just look up at the screen. He's got the headset on. Somebody can say, Coach, we need to throw the red flag. He's not micromanaging things. Ben McAdoo was like, I'm going to call the plays. I'm the offensive coordinator and the head coach. One game, somebody else calls the play against one of the best defenses, and I think the number one defense, total defense in the league still, the Denver Broncos. One game, somebody else, a different set of eyes, without Odell Beckham Jr., without Brandon Marshall, without Sterling Shepard, and a bunch of riffraffs in the backfield, and Eli Manning. And they win, going away against the Broncos. Sometimes, man, you just got to let go, B. You know what I'm saying? People saying now he might have saved his job. He probably don't feel like that. He probably still feel like I could have done that. Stop it. Stop. That Jaguars defense seems to be for real. They lost yesterday again. Leonard Fournette. I was definitely wrong about him. I thought Leonard Fournette was going to be Todd Gurley from last year. Not because of him. If you remember me talking about this after he got drafted. Not because of him. Just because of them. Blake Bortles. I felt like people was going to give him like 13-man boxes. You know what I mean? And like be just bringing people off the sideline to put in the box and stop the run. And dare Blake Bortles to throw the football. That's happening. But Leonard Fournette is just awesome at football. You know what I mean? He's just an awesome football player. He got like a foot injury yesterday, so we'll see how that materializes as the season rolls on. We'll see how that, plays itself out. So those things, amongst others, let you know exactly how much you don't know about what's going on, what's going to happen on the football field. So to be so emotionally attached to it and let it wreck your week, people like, oh man, my week at work is going to be terrible. That's stupid. That's just stupid. Why? Because something you couldn't control happened and something that really has no effect on your life. It doesn't have any effect on your finances, on whether or not food gets in your refrigerator. None of that stuff. I don't know, man. I'm just a stickler for like avoiding learned behavior because that's the way people expect you to act as a fan. You don't have to at all. You don't like. Okay, you understand your team is not gonna go undefeated. They're gonna lose some games, whatever. Yeah, you believe it, dude. Believe it. I did a 30-minute segment on fandom. Screw you. Why you saying F the Saints as well as the NFL? but they've been winning from the ground and not through the air. All right. So you've been the dude that's striking against the NBA or NFL. Speaking of the NBA, we'll talk about that. Opening night tomorrow, man. Hell yeah. NBA starts up tomorrow. The dude who's on boycott, still been keeping tabs, obviously, of his team and what his team is doing. Nah, I ain't gonna screw the NFL. It's really screw you, because you can't stay away. I told y'all that. You can't stay away. Let's take a break, man. Come back with On This Day. And then I want to talk about Colin Kaepernick, man. My man, I am Big L's in the chat room bringing it up. He says, I'm for the Kaepernick lawsuit or whatever he's doing against the NFL. Exactly. Most people don't even know what it is. I'm glad Big L is able to admit by saying whatever he's doing. And I'll try to explain it a little bit as we percolate throughout the show. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here live on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, and on TuneIn. Get involved, man. 404-902-8104. That's my text line. You can also hit me up on my Facebook live stream at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE, or in my live interactive chat room by going to Spreaker, listening, and hitting that little thought bubble icon on your streaming player to get you inside my live interactive chat room. I shall return.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
I'm in almost every school busing classroom.
I go to school with your children.
We say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid.
Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want.
I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry.
There's enough food in this country to feed everybody.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger.
Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Welcome back to the Monday episode of the One Mic with Big Mike show, here live on the Spreaker app, Spreaker.com, and TuneIn. You can also hear the show you can hear the show on demand if you miss any of it, or any of my previous episodes on all 3 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, as well as check out the Facebook live stream going on right now on my Facebook page at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Follow me at the same handle on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you keep this text number down, or write this text number down, or keep it, or whatever. 404-902-8104. You can text that number anytime, whether you're listening to the show live or later on demand. It's wide open at all times, and I'll definitely get the text and reply to them via or on the next show or whatnot. See, no reason to get butthurt. What I'm talking, like Big L now, because I said a shout out to him for admitting that, it's not really a clear cut thing. This Colin Kaepernick situation, not really a clear cut thing, and people are acting as though they know what it's all about. I had to text my guy Steve Silver this morning to kind of get a real legal expert, a real lawyer, a sports lawyer, to kind of get the gist of it all, because I thought I had it. I've spoken to Craig Hodges, who filed a collusion lawsuit against the NBA back in the day. He gave me his experience, and I wanted to get a more adequate take on, not a more adequate take, but a more up-to-date take on it from my guy. So when I said, Big L, appreciate you admitting by saying, or whatever it is, I think that's the proper way to come at it. Big L's like, grievance against the NFL, Big Mike. I know a little about everything. I know, Big L, you my guy. I know you do. You know what I'm saying? But, this is different. I was making a broader point, but using you as the example for that broader point. All right. Before I get all the way deep into that, because I'm about to start talking about that, since apparently I Am No Do's got a problem with me, getting after his people dumbass sports fans. I did too much time on it last segment, so I'm going to move on to my Colin Kaepernick conversation right after I take you guys back in time.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, your Monday episode of On This Day goes a little something like, turn this down a little bit, like this. On this day in 1946, Gordie Howe of the Detroit Red Wings played his first ever NHL game. Gordie Howe being Mr. Hockey. On this day in 1960, the National League voted to admit the Houston Astros and the New York Mets, I guess, to the league. It was the first structural change since 1900. Now, of course, the Houston Astros are in the American League and 2 games away from the World Series. I haven't really been watching the games because they come on at such random ass times and on such random networks. It's Fox and TBS and whatever else. I can't find them, man. Plus, I got this new cable, which I don't know the channels yet, so it's real weird, and hopefully I get it together by the time the World Series rolls around. On this day in 1971, Norm Ullman of the Toronto Maple Leafs recorded his 1,000th point in a 5-3 loss to the New York Rangers. And on this day in 1972, Joe Namath, Hollywood Joe, was on the cover of Time magazine. On this day in 1991, the boy Roy Tarpley of the Dallas Mavericks at the time became the 7th player to be banned from the National Basketball Association, the NBA, for life under the league's anti-drug agreement. Because you guys know, for those of you who are around my age, in the 80s, boy, yeah, the NBA was all about that cocaine. It was a mess. Speaking of the NBA, on this day in 1992, Earvin Magic Johnson played his first professional game since coming out of retirement from the HIV virus. Remember how he said that he had attained? People was freaking out. What if I shake his hand? What if he sweat on me? Am I going to die next week? Magic is healthier than I am. Jesus Christ. And much, much richer. On this day in 1996 in Guatemala City, at least 84 people died and 147 were injured when a stampede of soccer fans occurred before the 1998 World Cup qualifying match between Guatemala and Costa Rica. You want to talk about fans of a sport? These soccer people will put all these NFL folks to freaking shame. Do coaches get tested? No, they don't get tested. Yeah, they do. I'm alive because you remember, I'll get to that in a second, Big L. Let me finish this. I got a short attention span. I'm like a gnat. On this day in 2003, finally, the 2 NHL games ended in a scoreless tie for the first time since December 30th, 1934. Those games were Atlanta, stand-up ATL, at the New York Rangers, and Philadelphia at San Jose. And that is your Monday episode or Monday edition of On This Day. All right, getting back to the show here. The One Mike with Big Mike Show live. The One Mike with Big Mike Show live here on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and on the TuneIn app. Big L is asking me about drugs. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Do coaches get tested? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Yes, if you guys remember, this might have been, 5-10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Wade Wilson. I was going to say, not Wade Phillips. Wade Wilson, the quarterback coach for the Dallas Cowboys, actually failed a PED test for whatever reason. He was taking performance enhancers like testosterone or something like that. But anyway, he failed the test and he got suspended for like 5 games for it. So apparently coaches do get tested. I don't know what the regularity of it is because according to this stripper from Las Vegas, my man out in Miami was tooting for a while. Well, she said they had been together for a couple months. So I don't know, a couple months doesn't necessarily equal a couple of years. But to answer the question, Big L, yeah, I think the coaches do get tested. I'm not sure about the regularity or how often, but I just remember Wade Wilson getting suspended for that testosterone, failing that testosterone test back in the day. Okay, let's talk about one of the constant subject matters on this show. Colin Kaepernick, he's back in the news. I don't think he ever left the news. Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job, by the way, if you were wondering. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers is out for the season with a broken collarbone. No call from Mike McCarthy, and when he got asked about it, Mike McCarthy being the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, who, by the way, play in the state that Colin Kaepernick is from. He's from Wisconsin, for those of you who didn't know that. James Winston also out with an AC joint. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. What did I say? A C joint? An AC joint sprain. James Winston's out. I'm not sure if Colin Kaepernick is getting a call from the Buccaneers either. I don't know what James Winston's situation is as far as availability either. So let me say that. He was warming up on the sideline yesterday, throwing the football a little bit while Ryan Fitzpatrick was in there cleaning up the doo-doo that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game yesterday. Now, from what I read earlier, let me give you guys the actual wording of this particular this motion that has been filed by Colin Kaepernick and his legal team regarding the subject of collusion. You know what I mean? I'll tell you guys I'll give you guys my opinion and what lawyers and legal people are saying. This is a hard case to prove. You know what I mean? Like, you actually need like hard proof, not the stuff that we all know has been happening. Like, we know and we feel what's been happening, right? But none of that really amounts to proof as it pertains to a legal case, which is the problem that Craig Hodges had back in the day. That's the problem the NFLPA had a couple of years ago when they tried to sue the NFL for collusion as it pertained to players' contracts during the lockouts. You know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of faith in Colin Kaepernick, and I can appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because Big L in the chat room is saying that Colin Kaepernick is playing chess, not checkers on the NFL. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. But let me read this to you. His lawyer, criminal defense lawyer, Mark Garagos, he's representing Kaepernick right now. Here's what he had to say. He said, "We can confirm that this morning," which was yesterday, I guess, or maybe that was today. Anyway, we filed a grievance under the CBA on behalf of Colin Kaepernick. This was done only after pursuing every possible avenue with the NFL, with all the NFL teams and their executives. And people are saying that the last straw, the final straw, was freaking this Tennessee Titans situation when they decided they was gonna call Brandon Weeden and say that Colin Kaepernick, who plays just like Marcus Mariota, that Brandon Weeden and Matt Castle fit their system more than Kaepernick. At some point, man, just don't say nothing. Just show up to the press conference with 2 middle fingers up and walk away. You know what I mean? Just do that. Show up, put the 2 middle fingers up here. This is what we're going to do with Colin Kaepernick, and then leave. You know what I mean? So as though, at least at the end of the day, people don't feel like you're questioning their intelligence. That's the dumbest thing anyone has said when it comes to the not signing. This even precedes Ray Lewis and until his girlfriend sent out that Instagram, we was going to sign him. This precedes that ignorance and stupidity. You know what I mean? All right. So anyway, the lawyer goes on to say, if the NFL, as well as all professional sports, is to remain a meritocracy, then principled and peaceful political protests, wow, tongue twister, which the owners themselves had made great theater imitating weeks ago, should not be punished. And athletes should not be denied employment based on partisan political provocation by the executive branch of our government. Such a precedent threatens all patriotic Americans and harkens back to the darkest days of our nation. The darkest days as a nation, Protecting all athletes from such collusive conduct is what compelled Mr. Kaepernick to file his grievance. So by that last line, it sounds as though, and this is what I gleaned from it earlier, that he knows it's over. That now the reality of his NFL career being over has set in. And now there's another fight to be fought. Again, not for him, as this just says, for others. To make sure that other people don't have to be fearful, because there are athletes still that are fearful that if I speak out about the wrong thing, I give you the Carolina Panthers a couple weeks ago had to go ask for permission from their racist ass owner to protest, and Cam's thing was now he scored a touchdown, he threw up the black flag or the black fist or whatever, stuff like that. Jerry Jones intimidating his team. Nobody on my team better not do nothing to disrespect that flag or else you won't play. Stuff like that happening. seems to be the impetus for Colin Kaepernick now saying, you know what, I may be done. They may have gotten me, but this don't need to happen no more than nobody else. And then possibly, looking for some sort of financial compensation, which I think he deserves. No doubt about it. I think he deserves. I'll give you guys here in a minute a list of names it's going to sound like a comedy routine when I give it to you. So anyway, Colin Kaepernick's goal has always been and remains to simply be treated fairly by the league, which he should be. Now, the NFLPA chimed in because obviously he didn't go through the NFLPA to file this motion. He did it with his own personal lawyer, which is kind of crazy because it's going to cost him so much money to fight this. That's what powerful people do in this country. You know what I mean? We talk about this Harvey Weinstein stuff and how he made all that stuff go away for 30 years. He can just tie people who don't have his money up, just like the NFL would do, just like the NFL has done with the retired players. Just tie these people up in litigation for as long as possible, and eventually you'll run out of money. And if you run out of money, you got to walk away or settle, which is what the NFL retired players did. So with Colin Kaepernick going after this himself, it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I don't know how it's going to end up for him. So the NFLPA said our union has a duty to assist Mr. Kaepernick as we do all players, and we support him. And that's pretty much their take on it. They don't really have a lot to do with it. Now, let me do this before I move on with the conversation because I want to do this so badly. This this list of NFL quarterbacks, 39 of them have been signed since Colin Kaepernick has been a free agent. Matt Schaub has been brought back to the Atlanta Falcons as a backup. Kellen Clemens, he's out there with the Chargers backing up Phillip Rivers. Josh McCown, who, in all fairness, Josh McCown's playing some decent football for the Jets. Probably more decent than they even want him to be playing because they need to be in position to get them a quarterback in this draft next year. So, okay. Easy Jesus, my man, EJ Manuel. We got to see a taste of EJ last week, didn't we? That didn't taste real good. Aaron Murray, the University of Georgia's finest. He's with the LA Rams now. Got drafted by the Chiefs. They moved on from him, and now he's a Ram backing up Goff. Garrett Gilbert. You say, who? Yeah, exactly. He is the third quarterback back on the roster for the Carolina Panthers. Dirty Sanchez. Mark Sanchez, baby. King of the butt fumble. He's a Chicago Bear. He's the third. He didn't even dress last week, but he's on the roster. David Fales. He was in Atlanta this week, I guess backing up old Jay Cutler. Matt McGloin, he's up there in Philadelphia. TJ Yates is in Buffalo with Tyrod. Alex Torgerson, he's an undrafted free agent with the Atlanta Falcons. Sefo Leah, oh my God, what is this? Leafau? He's another undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wes Lunt, another undrafted free agent with the Minnesota Vikings. Trevor Knight, undrafted free agent out there with the Arizona Cardinals. Philip Walker. Now, I mentioned these guys being undrafted free agents just to put it into perspective that they're not getting paid that much money. You know what I mean? As much as a guy like Colin Kaepernick might command or just be a part of his tenure. You know what I mean? His veteran minimum may be higher than what these guys are paying. So Philip Walker is in Indianapolis as an undrafted free agent. Nick Mullins, 49ers, another undrafted free agent. Zach Terrell is in Baltimore, another undrafted free agent. Taysom Hill, same deal with the Green Bay Packers. Tyler Ferguson, same deal with the Tennessee Titans. Cooper Rush, same deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Skylar Howard, you've heard of none of these people, I'm sure. Same deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Eli Jenkins, he's out there with the Chargers, undrafted free agent. Matt Sims, you've heard of Matt Sims. Where did Matt Sims go to school? The University of Tennessee. He's the Falcons' third quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick. We saw that go on this weekend, didn't we? Tampa Bay Bucks. Where am I? Austin Davis, Seattle Seahawks, who actually had Colin Kaepernick in. This is why another reason why it's going to be hard for him to charge collusion, because he actually had conversation with the Seahawks in the offseason. Guys like Shad Khan, the owner for the Jacksonville Jaguars, said publicly he wouldn't have a problem with signing Colin Kaepernick. It was his coaches that actually said that he's somebody that they wouldn't want or whatever. But the owner, who this case is being brought against, the owner of the team said, "Nah, I'd love to have him, or I would be willing to have him. I don't want to." I don't want to go overboard. He said, I'd be willing to have him. Austin Davis is also a Seattle Seahawk. I already said that, didn't I? Zach Dissert, the Dallas Cowboys third quarterback. Dane Evans, the Philadelphia Eagles backup or third quarterback. Luke McCown is with the Dallas Cowboys as well. David Olsen with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's the kid from the freaking Arena League, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Woodrum, the Baltimore Ravens, same team. Yeah, and then there's Jay Cutler. Oh, $10 million of Jay Cutler, baby. He's a walking trash can dumpster fire, ain't he? Thad Lewis. Yeah, Thaddeus. Dude ain't played in 2 years. They was like, come on in here. Come on in here so we can just drive this point all the way home with this Colin Kaepernick cat. Matt Leidner, not to be confused with Matt Leinart. He's an undrafted free agent with the Minnesota Vikings. Keith Winning with the Buffalo Bills. Brad Kaya. We know Brad Kaya, rookie kid from the University of Miami last year. He's with the Panthers as well. Joe Webb, Mr. Do Everything, is up there in Buffalo. How many damn quarterbacks the Buffalo Bills got? Oh, the Brock Osweiler. We saw that garbage. we saw somebody throw that garbage on the field last night, didn't we? Yeah, he's back with the Denver Broncos. Ryan Nassib is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then Brandon Weeden. To wrap it all up, Brandon Weeden will be in uniform tonight on Monday Night Football as the Indianapolis Colts take on the Tennessee Titans. All of those quarterbacks have signed since Colin Kaepernick has become a free agent. None of them, I repeat, none of them are better than this guy, man. You know, and it's a damn shame that something that we still live in a society, man, where people, like, there are people who will still blame him. One being Urban Meyer's wife, who got flamed by Colin Kaepernick's mom. Like, she decided for whatever reason to tweet about Colin Kaepernick. You know, I know her husband didn't know about this, you know, because this is not going to be good for recruiting. That's what, like, my man Steve Silver told me about this morning when we were texting back and forth. She says when reading about Colin Kaepernick filing his grievance against the NFL, she puts whatever. He made his choices. Wait, what? Like, why is him being blackballed on him and not on the ridiculous organization that's doing it? She also confirmed that she would prefer Tim Tebow as her quarterback. No surprise there. And Colin Kaepernick's mom said, I wonder what you guys got to say about Aaron Hernandez. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Don't just reach into the barrel and pick out the best of the best in Tim Tebow. Let's talk Percy Harvin. Let's talk Aaron Hernandez. Let's do all that. The crap that was going on in Florida while your man was down there coaching. Yeah, I'd rather Tim Tebow. She ain't the only one. There's plenty of other idiots just like her. So yeah, this thing is not going to go the way a lot of people are thinking. I saw the reaction in the comments on social media, and I don't understand. Like, people love narratives that fit the things that they hope happens, instead of going the extra mile to understanding how these things go. Colin Kaepernick don't have long enough paper to go down this route. You know, this is probably like my man Steve Silver said to me this morning. This is probably a way to get the owners sweating a little bit, getting them talking, because they have their owners meetings this week. So this is another thing they can put on their table or on their plate, during these owners meetings. But as far as it turning out and coming out in his favor, there's way too many excuses that these people can use and have used. You know, RG3 is not in the league. That's one. You know, he didn't kneel. Brandon Marshall, the linebacker for the Broncos, he's still in the league. Eric Reed, Colin Kaepernick's teammate, is still in the league. A lot of guys are still in the league that have participated in these protests. So they'll say, "What about them? We haven't blackballed them," which again we know is bullcrap. You know, I talked about this months ago, right? It's just like what happened on the plantations back in the day. You take the troublemaker, or the biggest, or the strongest one, and you make the example of him to strike the fear in the rest. Now, in this case, it didn't quite work out that way all the way. but they got some help from their orange buddy in the White House as well. Now, his help didn't allow for the protest to stop, but what it did was solidify the ignorance and the stupidity that people want to maintain in changing the narrative and changing it into something that it's not, changing it into something about flags and troops and first responders and all this ridiculousness, heritage and all this dumb stuff. He's completely succeeded in that. So in many ways, it's over. In the next segment, I want to talk about some of the things that are surrounding about this. And I want to play you guys some audio that apparently I'm the only one that can get, because people are out here talking about Colin Kaepernick needs to speak. He needs to tell people what this protest is all about. Really? But he already has, very articulately on day one. He told you what it was about. So for those people who need a reminder, I'm here for you. I'm gonna give you the reminder in the next segment. Here's what we're dealing with when it comes to Colin Kaepernick. As far as who he is as a football player, played in 12 games last year. He was pulled from one in which there was like hella inclement weather. Remember that game? It was raining like mad hard and windy as hell. So he got pulled from that one. So in the game that he played, which is 12, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's a 4-1 touchdown interception rating. No one's is better except I want to say Brady's is better, or maybe Rodgers. One of those two guys is better than that. 90.7 quarterback rating. Damn near 500 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So that's 18 touchdowns he accounted for in 12 games. That ain't great. That ain't excellent. That ain't Hall of Fame, but that's, that's better than those dudes I just read off to you, and to drive that point home before we take this break. Only 12 quarterbacks this season. This one right here, the one that he's not playing in, have a better than 90.7 rating. 11 quarterbacks out of the 32, that's a third by my public school math, have already thrown more than 4 interceptions. And only 3 quarterbacks are on pace for more rushing yards than he had last year in 12 games. Only 3. I don't know. You guys can make your own, you guys can make your own conclusions, excuse me, wrong word, as it pertains to this matter, but the facts are what they are. Those are the same things that you would, so the people who want to say that he was on a garbage team and all these kind of things and they were playing catch up a lot, those same numbers though are the same numbers you would use to judge Peyton Manning, or you would use those numbers to judge Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady without any asterisks. So don't use them now, because you need a narrative to exist that he doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. So as this collusion thing rolls on, the one thing that he may have in his pocket, and this is why Roger Goodell has been very, very careful, because he's a lawyer. Roger Goodell is a lawyer by trade. He's been very, very careful to when people have come at him about this NFL collusion thing, he said very plainly, this is a team by team situation. There's nothing the league can do about this as a whole. It's a team by team decision, which says there is no collusion amongst all of us. It's individually done. And the other reason that he came out with that statement after the reports were that they were going to step into that room, into one of these rooms during these owners meetings and say, okay, we're going to change this language in this rule book and have these N-words stand up for this damn pledge. As soon as your man Donald Trump was like, see, good job, NFL. Now you got it. Make that rule. Roger Goodell came after that and was like, no, that ain't happening. Hell no, we're not about to do that. Because if you do that, it sounds as though you're taking your cue from the president, the same guy who said these owners won't sign Colin Kaepernick because they fear a bad tweet from Donald Trump. The same guy that says if these guys sit or kneel on the football field during the national anthem, you need to fire them. If you start, after every time he tweets or every time he makes a speech, doing that exact thing, Colin Kaepernick can use that in his collusion case, saying they're letting this guy, these owners are taking their cues from this guy, and every time he says this, they do this. Here's a pattern of it being done. This is why the lawyer in the room that works for these damn owners is quick to shut all of it down, and as much as he can, shut it down. He can't control Jerry Jones, who has a conversation with Donald Trump, and then like a day later is like, you know what? Yeah, you N-words better stand your asses up, or else. He can't control that. But he can't control what happens in these meetings with these owners and say, no. We're not changing no owners. We're going to sit down with the players and figure out how to move this thing on from protest to progress. He's not a dumb man. He may be a ginger. He may be soulless, but he's not a dumb man. I'll get to your comments here in a second, guys, in the chat room. We're going to take a break real quick and come back with some more of this conversation and kind of like try to advance it a little bit as well. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Most Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I know I am no those. At 7 o'clock on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and tune in as well as on my Facebook live stream at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIK. You want to get in on the conversation? Text me at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104. Jump inside my live interactive chat room or comment below the live interactive stream here on Facebook. Wait a minute. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic. My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what living united feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One Mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
They say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
I mean, ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now. It's something that I've seen, I've felt, wasn't quite sure how to deal with originally. And it is something that's evolved. It's something as I've gained more knowledge about, what's gone on in this country in the past, what's going on currently. These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be. I'll continue to sit. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change. And when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
That was day one. Day one. That's the voice of blackballed NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick. That was day one. And the reason I'm bringing that to your attention right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and TuneIn. As well as on Facebook Live. The reason I'm bringing that to your attention is because the latest person to now come out and produce this, once again, I am no dose, this narrative that Colin Kaepernick needs to speak. He needs to tell people. He needs to be the one to clarify for these idiots who want to convolute the initial message. He needs to speak. These people ain't got the internet. They ain't got YouTube. Oh, the name of the person. Let me tell you who. John Wooten. He works with the Fritz Pollard Alliance. For those of you not familiar with the Fritz Pollard Alliance, they're the ones that are responsible in many ways for the Rooney Rule. They're the ones who make sure that minority candidates get interviewed when job openings, when head coaching opportunities become available in the NFL. That's that organization. So this old brother who used to play in the league, John Wooten, feels like Colin Kaepernick needs to be the one to shut all this down. No, he doesn't have that power to turn stupid people into smart people, or the people who aren't racist people who want to hide behind patriotism into normal human beings who say, you know what, what's more important than a song and a piece of cloth? The lives of human beings. That's a little bit more important. Those people aren't going to get it. And he's doing the right thing. He said it once on camera, on video, so that he didn't have to say it again. Because now then what happens is you open yourself up to more. People want more. People are insatiable. They want more and more and more and more. No, allow it to stand on its own. The impact is being felt. Whether or not these cats that are taking the knees now in the NFL are getting it right or doing it for the right reason, the impact is being felt. I don't want to be the conversations being had guy. I'm 40 years old, and for 40 years, black people have been convinced to have conversations about this stuff. And as long as white people can convince you guys to keep having conversations, you know what they're doing? Good. And we don't need to change nothing. We can keep locking their asses up, keep them poor, keep their neighborhoods full of drugs and guns. And then when they bring up the fact that the police are killing them, we can bring that up. Every time you do that with a white person who wouldn't care less about black people killing other black people at any other time, find a way to caring about it when you bring up the police killing black people. Well, what about black on black crime? They got all the statistics in their pocket, most of them wrong, but whatever. Who needs facts when you can just be racist? You know what I mean? Who needs those things? Let me go back to my chat room real quick because I've kind of lost my Big L saying bring Kaepernick in. The Giants owner said it. Trump said he would never get a job in the NFL. Actually, the Giants owner before he said that Colin Kaepernick would be too much of a distraction. So a lot of these cats have tried to soften their stances on things, probably because someone mentioned the word collusion to them beforehand. It was like, wait a minute, no. We can't have that going on. Let's say something different. And that's what I said. If you guys remember when Shad Khan first said that he'd be willing to have Kaepernick, I was like, nah, he's just the one. He's the one to break up the collusion cycle so they can always point to him and say, well, we got that guy right there that said he wouldn't have any problem with it. So how could there be collusion? Yeah, I'm too old to be that stupid. You know what I mean? To fall for that kind of stuff. Let me see. I'm scrolling down here. Only a blind person can see that Kaepernick. See the white balling of Kaepernick. Is that like a Shannon Sharp thing? Because I read that today. I don't watch that show. Because I'm definitely not a Skip Bayless guy at all. He or Stephen A. Smith. But I read that today in the headline that Shannon Sharp, everybody's favorite hood uncle, I guess now. People love Shannon. That Colin Kaepernick's being whiteballed, not blackballed. Whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I am no dose. I haven't heard the word narrative this much pre-Trump as I've heard it since Election Day. There's a lot of things going on more. Like, I was thinking about that this weekend. I watch so much news now. Like, usually my news watching would go like this. I definitely watch Bill Maher's show on Friday, Friday night, because he kind of gives you like a wrap up, a condensed 1 hour version of the week. You know what I mean? I would watch John Oliver's Situation on Sunday, and usually I'd get up in the morning on Saturday morning and just turn on CNN real quick to see if any black people got shot by the police overnight or during the week. And I just kind of I didn't miss I missed it or didn't hear about it. That was pretty much my routine. Now I wake up every morning like, all right, let me make sure these nukes ain't in the air real quick before I start doing anything productive. You know what I mean? Make sure this dumbass ain't threatening freaking Lil' Kim. In a way where this dude's like, yeah, let me show you who the punk is. You know what I mean? Every morning I do that. See? Like Big L taking credit for the white ball thing. So everybody, Big L started the term white balled. Give it up to my man out of Arkansas. Started the whole term. Hashtag white balled. Oh, you ever talk to a kid about, like, you hear a kid say something and you be like, where you get that from? You know, it's like some like old saying, like, where you get that from? And like the kid is like 9 years old, like, I made it up. It came out of my brain. Like, okay, whatever, dude. Not saying that's what my man Big L is doing, just kind of like pointing it out. Okay, so I've already mentioned Urban Meyer's wife. I didn't get a chance to look up this particular thing that I heard my man Jim Trotter talking about today. That the NFL is trying to develop some sort of seminar at Morehouse where athletes get together and figure out the proper way to get their message across. Oh, I love that, man. Like, white people make the rules, B. Like no one ever can refute that statement. White people make the rules. Black people, you know what we do? We come up with trends, things that are cool things to say, cool ways to wear your clothes, cool ways to wear your hair, things that change periodically and consistently. White people make the rules, things that stand for a long, long time until they get ready to change them again. Feel me? And this is what's happening now. We gonna let y'all get together and we gonna help y'all figure out how to get your message across in a way that makes us comfortable. Now, they ain't gonna say that part, but that's what it's all about. And if these players fall for it, man, I ain't even gonna say, it's really nothing bad to say about it. They have no power. They have no power. I heard my man Dan Lebatard say this morning, just in a hypothetical way, and I thought it very I found it very thought provoking. He was like, "What if, like yesterday, for example, the Seattle Seahawks were on a bye yesterday? He was like, what if instead of being on a bye, they actually had a game, but they just refused to play? All of them, all 53 of them, 56, how many are on the roster? They just refused to play. How would that play out? Not only with the owners or Roger Goodell, but how would that play out with the fan base? Not just the people who are already against the protest, not just those people, but what about the people who pay their money to come to that stadium that are actually aligned with the protests? How would they then turn against the team? Because in actuality, when you think about it, that's the only power these players have, is their service. Right. Is their ability to play. Big L's an idiot. He said they're gonna have Ray Lewis at the seminar teaching. Yes. See, that's why I love y'all, man, because y'all get me. If you're freaking ignorant as hell like me, yeah, Ray Lewis would be the one that the NFL assigns to teach these seminars to these players. Right. Something stupid like that'll happen. Yeah, to me, that's a non-starter, man. Because by doing that, or by setting something like that up in lieu of, like, you can do that along with the protest continuing, but to do that in place of is, again, being like, we're going to show you how to do it the right, aka white way. The way that makes us feel comfortable, and it makes the 83% of our white constituent or fan base feel comfortable. And I'm not cool with that at all, man. You know what I mean? I'm not one single solitary bit cool with that. And about Wednesday, I might have more details on this because, like I said, I was just watching TV today, or it was on, and I heard my man Jim Trotter, somebody who was down with us a long time ago when he was at freaking Sports Illustrated. He used to do our show like almost every other week when we were doing the Sports Kings, man. And a guy whose opinions I respect and whose knowledge I respect. So if he talks, I'll listen. He's one of the people who, when he talks, I'll listen. You know what I mean? And he said that he had sources that said that was one of the things they were going to be talking about at these owners' meetings. And as I'm listening to it, I'm like, my God. Oh, real quick, before I move on, this is something that's very, very important. This is one of the aspects of this Colin Kaepernick thing. Before I move on, they're talking about the NBA and the NCAA and all this kind of stuff. That also will get missed by where where people want to see this go. They want to see this end up with him either getting money from the NFL or with him being back in the NFL, which neither of those things are probable of happening. But the other thing that was brought up about him filing this lawsuit, and if he wins this lawsuit, he could actually trigger a termination to the current CBA, which would allow the players to come back to the table, the current players to come back to the table and negotiate. This article says Article 69, 69, Section 2 of the CBA allows for the agreement to be terminated prematurely in the event of proof of collusion. Under Article 17, Section 16C of the CBA, termination can arise from only one incident of collusion involving only one player. Both things are true. One incident, one player. If there is a clear and convincing evidence of the violation. Now, that's the caveat. There needs to be clear and convincing evidence, which is that term is very broad. You know what I mean? Like what's clear and convincing to us? Because we feel very clear and convinced that this is happening, but that doesn't matter. You know, it depends on the perception and the perspective of whoever's hearing the brief. So this is another way where this dude is, you know, you can look at this as this dude just being very selfless, man. You know, he's being very selfless in his pursuit for justice for a lot of different people, man. You know, and I don't want to get too carried away with this, but I want to remind people that like Dr. Martin Luther King didn't get shot in the midst of, you know, marching for black people or for the rights of black people. If you guys don't know this, and you should know, if your kids don't know, you should tell them. When Dr. King was gunned down at the Lorraine Motel, he was in town fighting for sanitation workers to get $1 raise. Black, white, just sanitation workers, just the rights of people doing that job is when he died. So when I look at Colin Kaepernick and he's going out of his way for just anybody and everybody, man, who he can help right now, I salute that brother, man. You know what I mean? Like if I was a dude to have like a favorite player and I was a dude to buy jerseys and all that, it would be his, man. I'm not even fronting on that. You know what I mean? Like all this other stuff is here today, going tomorrow. But this guy, man, he's already in the Smithsonian museum. He's gonna go down. He's gonna be a part of history, man. Like he's gonna die, but our kids are gonna know who Colin Kaepernick is. And here's the key. Like once my old lady starts asking me about Colin Kaepernick, yeah, it's a go. I mean, she knows nothing. When she's like, "Babe, is the Colin Kaepernick guy? Does he have a job yet?" And when she knows what's happening with it, yeah, it's already all the way said and done. One more thing from Colin Kaepernick before I move on. He also addressed, even before it became a thing, he addressed the situation as it pertained to the military and all of that.
You know, I have great respect for men and women that have fought for this country. I have family, I have friends that have gone and fought for this country. And they fight for freedom. They fight for the people. They fight for liberty and justice for everyone. And that's not happening. I mean, people are dying in vain because this country isn't holding their end of the bargain up as far as, you know, giving freedom and justice and liberty to everybody. It's something that's not happening. And I've seen videos, I've seen circumstances where men and women that have been in the military have come back and been treated unjustly by the country they fought for and have been murdered by the country they fought for on our land. That's not right. This stand wasn't for me. This stand wasn't because I feel like I'm being put down in any kind of way. This is because I'm seeing things happen to people that don't have a voice, people that don't have a platform to talk and have their voices heard and affect change. So I'm in a position where I can do that, and I'm going to do that for people that can't.
My N-word. That's all I can say, man. My N-word, man. Shout out to that guy, man. Like, this is day one. This is day one. He addressed it all. Day one. So when the idiots want to start bringing up, but he's disrespecting my military and my flag, and if you want to do that kind of stuff, go back to Africa. Go straight to hell. Burning gasoline draws and all, cuz you're an idiot. I know I said a couple weeks I was gonna let this thing go, man, but I can't. It just keeps coming up, you know. And I don't think I'll be doing the couple of people who listen to this show as a proper service if I were just to ignore it. So I won't. I'll address it the way, the way I do. You know what I mean? In my own unique type of way. So moving on here. Let's move on. Did y'all see that idiotic thing the Redskins did yesterday? That touchdown celebration where they was like doing like the police, patting cats down and putting your arms behind your back. I was like, yeah, see, this is the type of stuff. This is what these white people talk about. This is the uncomfortable stuff. These white people ain't trying to see at their football games. I love the ignorance, by the way. I enjoy it. I find it very funny because like there was this thing that happened. A couple years ago when I was still doing radio, somebody called in. No. Did they call in or text the show? One of the two, right? Somebody, was speaking about something. They said, Big Mike, why do you always want to talk about slavery? Or why do you love talking about slavery so much? Because I make jokes about like slave stuff all the time. And I was like, because you don't. Because I know it makes you uncomfortable. And it would be a perfect world for you as a white person for me to just do what you do and ignore it. And say it happened so long ago. When the reality is black folks in this country have been in bondage, have been treated as second-class citizens way more than we've quote-unquote been free, way longer than we've quote-unquote been free. So, Mr. White Man, Mr. White Woman, Mrs. White Woman, or Miss White Woman, it hadn't been that long ago. Let's keep that real one time. I remember sitting down at like Thanksgiving dinner with my homeboy's mom and dad a couple of Thanksgivings ago. And she said something that was so profound to me. And it's something that you don't think about in day-to-day life. But she was like, you know what? We're going to be the last generation, talking about her generation. We're going to be the last generation to have experienced the civil rights movement and Jim Crow and those type of things. And I was like, damn. Think about that. Like your moms and your pops, or, if you're like my age, your moms and your pops are part of that last generation to see a Negro or a colored water fountain and those type of things. But white people will want to tell you that was so long ago. Get over it. Of course, Jews. Now, if you say anything about the Jewish homies, like about Hitler or any of that type of stuff, you'll get your balls ripped off, cuz. You know what I mean? No, the Jews don't need to get over it. Hell no. You know what I mean? But you know why, though? Because it didn't happen in America. America can easily blame it on the Germans and Hitler. It's easy. You can blame it on them. There's no finger to point back at yourself if you're an American white person. So you can feel that sympathy and that empathy for Jewish people or people who survived, who had ancestors that survived the Holocaust. And you can call people idiots, those idiots who talk about the Holocaust didn't really happen. It's easier to disavow, Nazi lovers and those people. I want to hear white people start talking. I keep saying this too, and I'm going to keep on saying it because it's my show. I want to hear white people start talking about a mass incarceration. Talk about a drug problem that don't involve, white kids being hooked on opioids, prescription drugs, things that have affected the black community for many, many years. They're making movies about it all over the place. Now, there's a brand new Tom Cruise movie coming out about how the government, remember the whole Iran-Contra thing? When Oliver North stood up and told people that the government pumped dope and guns into the black community to fund a war that America couldn't be seen to have their hands on with the Contras. He's got a nice cushy job over at Fox. Never did a day in jail for that. They making movies about it right and left. Even my man, golly, what's homie name that did Boys in the Hood? Who does who did the movie on FX, or the show on FX? The dope movie on FX. I can't even think of the name of it right now. One of my favorite shows. John Singleton is who I'm thinking about. Yeah. All that stuff is coming out now. It's like 30 years later. You know what I mean? But we've known about it forever. But all of a sudden now we've got an opioid epidemic in America. Really? We do? We just got an opioid epidemic. If you saw the Denzel movie about Frank Lucas, that movie was set in the 70s, in the 60s. But now is when we have Snowfall. Thank you, Big L. But now is when we have the opioid epidemic. Miss me with it, man. I ain't trying to hear about none of that. Those sob stories, little white kids whose mom and dads are popping pills. Yeah, it's all good. Now, you're right. It is Snowfall, cuz. All right. So tomorrow Tomorrow. NBA basketball kicks off tomorrow. I'm loving this, man. I'm loving what we're gonna see, and I hope I enjoy it as much as I think I will. But much like what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, we'll think a lot of things are gonna be something, and then as they play out throughout the season, we'll figure different things out. You know what I mean? Tomorrow night on TNT, we get to see the Boston Celtics. Imagine how that just worked out, right? The Celtics are gonna go to Cleveland. The Cavaliers organization said they're going to do a video tribute for the man Kyrie. Of course they should. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, he didn't do anything wrong to the organization. You got an all-star point guard in return, although he is kind of damaged goods, but he said to be returning somewhere around Christmas to help LeBron out and Kevin Love and those cats out. I think Derrick Rose is definitely a different player than he was in the year he won the MVP, but nonetheless, he's still a former MVP. However you think he got it, whether you think it was supposed to be LeBron's MVP, whatever. Steve Nash got 2 of them too, and Kobe's only got 1. Just swallow that and let it digest a little bit. Steve Nash has 2 MVPs. Kobe Bean Bryant has 1. And I'll move on. So yeah, they'll take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. We don't know if LeBron's going to play in this one. His status is uncertain. He's got an ankle injury. J.R. Smith said he knows this man's going to play because he's never missed an opening game in his life, not career. In his life, has he ever missed an opening game of basketball? So, and I want to see the dude play. I don't want to see him play hurt. You know what I mean? Because then I don't want him to re-injure the thing and be out for like 3-4 more weeks. I ain't trying to see that happen. Like, there's only really a couple of things to watch in the Eastern Conference. Like, you can check out that Washington situation, Brad Beal and Johnny Wall. The situation in Toronto, which we always seem to forget about a little bit. Is Serge Ibaka still? I think they re-signed Serge Ibaka, right? He and Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. You know what I'm saying? Mid-range shouty. Then you got the Celtic situation. It's going to take them a little time to gel a little bit with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward and Al Horford and those cats, Marcus Smart. It's going to take them a little time to gel a little bit, so that's going to be something worth watching. And then, of course, the Cleveland situation. We want to see that. We want to see, LeBron and Derrick Rose and D Wade and Kevin Love. See how that situation works out, all the way around. I don't know, Big L. Big L's asked me about LeBron going. I don't know. He re-aggravated that ankle the other day in a preseason game. So from all accounts, man, people are pretty confident that he's not going to miss this opportunity. With Kyrie coming back into town, he's not going to miss that opportunity. So I hope not. I hope more so that he's healthy and playing, not pushing it. Because, like I said, I don't want there to only be 3 teams worth watching. Because definitely the team that plays in my city, oh my God, that's going to be a ish show. You understand me? From now, they talking about some sort of discipline coming Dennis Schroeder's way, the point guard, because him and some of his boys done put the hands on some cat at a club up north, you know what I mean, on the north side of Atlanta. So, he got arrested for that, and it's probably going to be something coming his way in the way of a suspension or something like that. So, there's going to be nothing to watch basketball-wise here in the city of Atlanta. That's why people are putting all their hopes and dreams on those Bulldogs.
The rightful king of the SEC, the Bulldogs of Georgia. Go, you Silver Bridges!
And the Atlanta Falcons. Because this basketball thing and this baseball thing is going to be a while. You know what I mean? It's going to be a while for both of them to come back to any, sense of prominence or notoriety. The other game that's going on tomorrow, the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. Get to see CP3, James Harden, Trevor Ariza. I like Trevor Ariza's game, man. People kind of poop on Trevor Ariza. I like his game. What's the other kid's name? Eric Gordon, 3-point champion Eric Gordon. They got a nice little squad out there, man. It's going to be interesting to see who plays the point, though, man. Like, James Harden had the best season of his career last year. He's one of the guys, I think one of the only guys to in 2 separate seasons or back-to-back seasons lead the league in scoring, then come back the next year and lead the league in assists. But you got an all-time great point guard in Chris Paul on the roster now. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Mike D'Antoni works that situation out. And of course, you know what's happening in Golden State. You know what I mean? It's gonna be it's gonna be a real situation the same way it was last year. They still got Clay, they still got Steph, they still got Draymond, AI is still out there, and of course Kevin Durant. Sean Livingston re-signed on the bench. My man JaVale McGee is back to hold it down in the middle off the bench. It's going to still be a real-ass situation out there in OKC, and they are the pace car. Feel me? They're the ones that everybody's trying to catch up to and figure out. That's why OKC brought in Paul George, brought in Carmelo, if only for 1 year, to get a little test run. Same thing with CP3. It may only be for 1 year. But you just can't sit back and wait for them to get bad. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You got to step your game up. Wednesday, before I take a break here, some of the other things to watch, some of the other games to watch for. 76ers and the Wizards, that young 76ers squad. Boston and the Milwaukee Bucks, nice young squad as well. What else is going on Wednesday? That young Timberwolves squad taking on the San Antonio Spurs. My man LaMarcus Aldridge just re-upped for another 3 years. Kawhi Leonard still has that thigh injury, so I don't know if he's going to play in this ball game. That's pretty much all, that you want to watch for tomorrow. Yeah, I don't really see anything else here. Memphis and New Orleans. The New Orleans situation, I want to see how that thing with Drew Holiday and AD and Boogie, I want to see how that thing, materializes as the season moves on. But against the Memphis squad, I'm kind of good. I'm kind of good on that. So let's take a break. Last segment of the show coming up next. Appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me. My man, Big L, I am No Doze. My folk here on the old Facebook Live, Tom Gully. What up, homie? Gully is that dude's last name. Shout out to him. He must be the realest cat in the world. And everybody else, make sure you get this text number 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104. The Facebook live stream is at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And I'll be back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
All right, welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show. We got one segment left here. I'm captivated by what's going on in this Monday Night Football game. I'm seeing Derrick Henry and what's my guy's name that was with the Cowboys? Why can't I think of his name? The other running back, 29, DeMarco Murray, in the backfield at the same time. That's pretty ill. I'm with it. I can deal with that. And also Marcus Mariota's playing tonight as well. All right, this is the One Mic with Big Mike show. Don't forget, man, the show is available on demand. All my shows, from the time I started this situation, man, are available via the Spreaker app, as well as Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Tune in, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, and the live streams are available at One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook. Can I tell you guys one more thing that allows me to justify my reasoning for hating sports fans with all my heart and soul? So, according to the Sebastian Daily down in Florida, a 27-year-old man was rushed to the hospital after lighting himself ablaze after watching last Sunday's Cowboys-Packers game, or 2 Sundays ago, I guess. or last Sunday. The incident reportedly came as a result of a lost bet. Yeah. Deputies who spoke with the couple admitted they were watching the NFL game and agreed to burn the losing team's jersey. However, the man decided to wear the jersey as it burned. See, that kind of stuff. It makes no sense to me. I don't even understand. Like, they should have just let his ass burn up, to be honest with you. Yeah, that would have been proper punishment for that level, feel me, of stupidity. That right there. Just let his ass be cremated in his favorite team's jersey. I guess it was the Cowboys. Yeah, because they lost. The Cowboys jersey. My gosh. Okay, so this past weekend in college football, to continue the theme of the show, that we know nothing. The people who speak and pontificate and predict these things that what are going to happen, and they're going to pick these games, and they have these records. Like, I went so-and-so 3-5 last week. They're idiots. They're all idiots. I don't do that on this show because I know I'm an idiot. And I know it's just a crapshoot anyway. So, last week in college football, everything got turned upside freaking down, starting on Friday with that Clemson loss to Syracuse. Shout out to the homie Dino, as a matter of fact. I didn't even know Clemson had a black head coach until Friday. And I was like rooting for his ass because I hate Dabo Swinney. And I hate him even more now. Like, I find reasons to hate Dabo Swinney. The top reason being, for those of you who don't know, Dabo Swinney's the guy who said if they ever start, he's a $7 million a year or more, probably quarterback or coach, that said if they ever start paying these players, he'll quit. He feels that strongly about these guys remaining broke, and he feels that strongly about them being used in the way they are. They're being used. And speaking of being used, here's what Dabo Swinney did. The guy who's going to quit if these players ever start receiving any form of compensation, past scholarships and whatever. His quarterback, Kelly Bryant, had a bad ankle, right? And from play one, this kid is out there gimping around. He's a running quarterback, guy who's got real good wheels on him, except for this Friday. He's out there gimping around. He's unable to protect himself properly. And for whatever reason, Dabo Swinney was content in playing this kid. This 18-year-old, well, he's a freshman, right? 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. To the point that he's running around, well, can't run past anybody, gets slammed on his freaking head and gets concussed. Now they're saying he's responding well to the concussion protocol. I bet his ass is. They got a bye this week. But when they asked Dabo Swinney coming out of halftime, like, how's Kelly Bryant doing? Well, I think he's probably concussed. No, a-hole. Of course he's concussed. He's out there on a broken leg damn near. And you just sitting on the sideline calling plays like it ain't nothing. Like, I don't imagine that being my son. You know what I mean? He's a true freshman. Thank you, Big L. He's a true freshman, so like an 18-year-old kid. You can't trust him on whether he wants to play or not. Somebody's got to be the adult. Mainly the adults need to be the adults. Nah, we don't need you this game. You rest up this week, heal up, get treatment. Got a bye week, get treatment all next week. And then in 3 weeks, you'll be ready to go. Nah, not Dabo. The thing that he, I guess, was trying to avoid ended up happening anyway. He had to end up going to the backup quarterback anyway. And they lost the game. And no one was happier than me. No one was happier than me. Because that stuff shouldn't happen, man. And with all this stuff about you eject players for targeting and all this kind of stuff, 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, you got to miss the game. All this stuff that they're saying is being done in the guise of player safety at the college level. You still, everybody, the commentators, the league, the ACC, the NCAA, everyone was fine with this kid out there looking the way he was looking. Barely able to move. Even if he wasn't a mobile quarterback, if he was just a regular Sam Darnold type of in-the-pocket type quarterback with the same injury, I would be saying the same thing about him. You can't send someone out there on the football field that doesn't have the ability to protect themselves. Because I know when I played, and this was like, going on 20 years ago now, that we would understand that we would take that as a form of disrespect. As a D-line, we would take that as a form of this dude feels like he can come out here that way and play against us. Nah, he ain't going to finish this game. Hell no. One way or the other, he going to sit his ass down tonight. And that's what ended up happening. it's just, I don't know, man. It's just very, very, it's disheartening to see that happening, and this is whether or not that kid was being compensated financially or not, it would still be the same way. That just can't happen. I'm gonna get my guy Bill Bender on too next week. I'm gonna try to reach out to him tonight and see if he'll join me on Monday, probably right before these the BCS rankings, the ones that really come out, because the people in Georgia are waiting on that. They're up to the Georgia Bulldogs are up to number 3 now. Let me say this to you real quick. Everybody who can hear me say this, we've got to. In the world of college football, and it's been like this forever. Bobby Bowden made a career of this. Lose early, lose to a formidable opponent, but lose early. Ohio State lost early, you know what I mean? And they just kind of hanging around, you know what I mean? Just kind of you know what I'm saying, sitting in the cut, waiting for all this other craziness to go down. This past week, Clemson, boom, I just mentioned them, but they went down. Washington, who was in the Final Four last week, boom, they went down. Washington State went down. So now we got Penn State sitting at number 2. Who thought that was going to happen a couple years ago? When they were facing all these sanctions and all that stuff from that Jerry Sandusky thing, I was on the radio at the time. Me and Rob was at CBS at the time. And I was like the first one that I heard say that they should have got the death penalty for what happened there. You got one of your coaches coming on campus with his own key, and he's able to use the football facilities to rape little boys. That's way more than giving Eric Dickerson a damn gold Camaro. That's way more insidious than that. But NCAA gave them their little slap on the wrist, and then when they threatened to sue, removed the sanctions altogether, which saved their program. My man James Franklin, went up there. He's doing a wonderful job, man. And this ain't me being against the kids. This ain't had nothing to do with them. But sometimes, man, the good get punished with the bad. I learned that a long time ago. Plenty of people got punished because of things that I did. So yeah, see, and Big L just brings this to the table. Big L says Georgia will lose 2 games this year, and the problem with that is, there is no problem with that. There is no problem with that, but the sentiment that surrounds that is for all these people who were here.
The Georgia down Bulldogs. And
they're saying stuff like that and all hyped up about where Georgia is right now. Please believe they are waiting for that other shoe to drop. They are waiting for that terrible thing to happen. And just like I just mentioned, the longer you wait to take that L, because like I'm watching Georgia Tech last week play Miami. Now Miami's not. I don't think they're Georgia. You know what I mean? But I saw some holes in Georgia's game last weekend too. Who did Georgia play last week? Somebody was killing them through the air early. Who was that they played? And I can't even think of it right now. I was watching the game. I sure was. Was it Vanderbilt? No, it wasn't Vanderbilt. They already played them. Either way, whoever that was, I can't think of it right now. My mind is drawing a blank of who Georgia was playing last week. God, this is really troubling me. They played at home. Who the hell did Georgia play last week? This is terrible. But anyway, Georgia does this every 4. Tennessee, yes, because Butch Jones' ass is out of there so bad to the point where Heath Evans, the cat from the NFL Network, is calling for his job. And then also, just to kind of put another cherry on top of that bullcrap Sunday, he's calling for this man to be fired and for himself to be hired because he's an Auburn alum and he can do much better. Like, look, dude, I'm not a fan of that at all, man. I'm not a fan of calling for anybody to be fired because 18-year-olds can't be perfect. Like, we get to that. We're at that point in college football, though. That's where we're at. Like, if Nick Saban gets people fired more than they get themselves fired. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Butch Jones. Sorry. Heath Evans is an Auburn alum. He's calling for Gus Malzahn to be fired. Sorry. Or is it Gene Chizik? Who's the coach at Auburn? Malzahn? Whatever. Whoever the coach is at Auburn, he's calling for him to be fired. Because Auburn was supposed to be better, right? Everybody was talking about 3 teams in the SEC, Georgia, Alabama, way above, and then Auburn. Well, Auburn just lost to LSU, and the question then remains, who the hell is LSU? They just lost to Troy, then came back and beat Florida and Auburn in back-to-back weeks. What the hell is the Bayou Cookie Monster doing down there? That's what I call their coach, because he sounds like the Cookie Monster with a Louisiana accent to me. Coach Ogeron. What the hell is happening? So yeah, Butch Jones is on the hot seat because for the last couple of years, it's been Tennessee's year. My man Big L says Georgia does this every 4 years. Georgia does this every year. Like every year is Georgia's year. They're like, yes, every year, SEC champions. And then, yeah, those 2 losses happen. Just like Big L saying, those 2 or 3 losses happen. And everybody's like, oh, we got to go to the damn, the damn, the Taco Bell Bowl again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's going to be plenty of jobs. It looked like plenty of job openings for people like, Chip Kelly, people like T. Martin. Heard his name come up. I don't even understand how T. Martin is still a damn offensive coordinator all this time. He's been at USC for a while. He's been through like 3 head coaches. Lane Kiffin, Sark, and now this cat, the cat that's there now. T. Martin's still there. There's something about T. Martin that's likable enough for him to be an assistant coach, but for whatever reason, maybe the melanin, but for whatever reason, T. Martin can't find his way to be the head man. He's coaching on the right side of the football. The offensive side, that's what people are usually looking for. But people like, what's the guy's name? What's the cat's name at South Carolina? Meanie face, bug-eyed guy that was at Florida. Yeah, he found his way to get 2 back-to-back SEC jobs. Meanwhile, T. Martin, being the consistent soldier that he is. Whatever. So anyway, your top 10 goes like this. I think this is the coaches poll, which is whatever, but it's still basically the same. Got Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, TCU, Texas Christian out of the Pac-12, just hanging in there. And look who's at number 5, Wisconsin. Yeah, when you got teams like Ohio State and Michigan out there in the Big Ten. Michigan State, I think, has 1 loss as well. And bang, here's Wisconsin at number 5. All these teams have an opportunity, I think, as the schedule goes on. I haven't looked at it, to kind of cannibalize each other, and then you'll get someone to come out of that conference, and maybe possibly because Penn State has Michigan this weekend, so we'll see if Michigan gets their second loss or Penn State gets their first loss. But again, I'll make this known: Ohio State's playing better football. They're getting their confidence up against some boo-boo teams as they get into the meat of their schedule. I don't know if they play Penn State this year, but I'm sure they got to play Michigan this year. So they're just hanging around. They lost early. Hanging around at number 6. And you know how much the selection committee loves them some Ohio State. They put them in the championship in the Final Four with a 3rd-string quarterback 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? Cardale Jones, 3rd-string quarterback. They make it to the Final Four and they eventually win the championship. People ain't gonna forget that. So they just hanging around. Miami's still undefeated at number 7. Clemson has their 1 loss, took their 1 L, this past weekend. I think they still got to play Miami if I'm not mistaken. So they're sitting there at number 8. Oklahoma, another close win this weekend, but they've gotten their first L as well. They beat Texas this weekend in the Red River Ride. Remember when they used to call it the Red River Shootout? And for whatever reason, you can't say shootout anymore. Why? Yeah, that's the reason people are doing mass killings on college campuses, because you're calling this game the shootout. Here's what's funny. In the wake of, and then USC, by the way, at number 10, which I don't understand the fascination with this kid, Sam Darnold. I've seen him play a few times this year, and I'm not on that. I'm not on any of these guys, really. That whole year of the quarterback thing, him, the kid from Oklahoma State, and Baker Mayfield, even Lamar Jackson, they lost again this weekend. Lamar's putting up Lamar Jackson type numbers, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, what was I about to say? Not Gary Shanley. What's this dude's name, man? God, what is his name? Not Gary Shanley's dead. Anyway, one of those old white comedians was on Bill Maher's show this weekend, and he pointed something out in the wake of the stuff that happened in Vegas last week. He was like, we got gun culture in our regular nomenclature in sports, especially. He was talking about how, they're in a shotgun, they're in the pistol. He throws a bullet across the middle. All these terms that get used in football as just normal everyday terms, but they lead back to how comfortable in America we are just interjecting gun culture into everything, man. And he says that as like, kind of jokingly, but still seriously, but it's thought provoking enough for people to take a step back and say, damn, it's so common that you don't even think about it that way. You're so used to saying it that way. The shotgun, the pistol, the bullet. He gave a couple of different examples, the Red River shootout, or they're in a shootout, It's weird, isn't it? It's just weird how in this country it's just that way. And I saw the stats the other day in other countries, other civilized, developed countries, the amount of gun deaths in their country. By the police, as a matter of fact. It was by the police. It's something like 9,000 just this year. My man Dave Zirin was on AM Joy. Dave Zirin's been on this show before, Edge of Sports podcast. He was on AM Joy this weekend on MSNBC, and he said that already this year, the police shootings this year have surpassed the amount of last year. But because we got an idiot in the White House who takes up all the oxygen in the room. You know what I mean? He takes up all the oxygen in the room. And in the news coverage, we don't hear about all these police shootings, but there have been more through what month are we in? October, through 9.5 months this year than there were all of last year. We still got a couple, 3.5 months to go in the year. Yeah. That's,
mind-boggling. When things are so crazy, it gets your thoughts all trapped like in a bottle.
Right. It's mind-boggling. I got to use this stuff more, man. When I was running the show, I used to use my drops all the time, but talking and all this kind of stuff at the same time is just real weird. Rick Pitino was officially fired today, and he was told to leave without his $44 million. So you know what's going to happen now. Yeah, you can't punish no white dude without paying him a lot of money. That's just not the way it's done in America, cuz. No, hell no. So they're going to go to court. And, they're going to do like Ezel. We can settle out of court for $50. It won't be 50. It'll be a lot of zeros behind that 50, but they're going to figure something out. This ain't one of those things that's just going to, it's not going to go away. I wanted to talk about this Harvey Weinstein thing too, man. Yeah, exactly. Donald Trump telling people, telling the police to beat people up. So no wonder the numbers are up. God, you know how much I hate that guy? I don't know him, but I hate him, dude. The last dude I said that about was George Bush, and I did not believe that I could hate a dude more than George Bush, and I do. Exponentially so. Very much so, man. I hate this guy, man. Couple of things here. Aaron Hernandez's lawsuit against the NFL has been dismissed with prejudice, which means his lawyers and people can refile at a different date, at another date. But so as of right now, the lawsuit is non-existent. They were going to sue the NFL for Aaron Hernandez having CTE and his brain being the brain of like a 70-year-old when he was only 20 something when he died or whatnot. And for all the people who want to see Greg Hardy get them hands on him. On November 4th, Greg Hardy, former NFL defensive end for the Panthers, for the Dallas Cowboys, he will have his very first mixed martial arts fight, November 4th. So for the ladies who want to see this dude, and the dudes who want to see this dude get hands put on him, yeah, I don't know what channel it's going to be on or whatever, but yeah, somebody's going to have the highlights from it. And the one thing I know about this thing, like I saw a dude named Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice is gone now; he's dead. But he made his hay as a street fighter, YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. He made his way all the way to the UFC, and this particular fight, his first fight was on Fox on like regular TV. And I saw this fight, and I saw this dude getting his ass worked by a real ass fighter. The only way he won this fight, because the dude who he's fighting had this like crazy, ugly cauliflower ear. It was real gross and nasty. And Kimbo punched the dude in the ear, and his ear busted, and it was bleeding like everywhere. It was so freaking disgusting. You know what I mean? And he won the fight, but dude was kicking his ass. You know what I mean? Just to let you know, man, this is for real, for real. I've seen Brock Lesnar, that big ass WWE dude. get his ass handled by a dude half his size. Now, he was whooping dude's ass. He was on top of him doing that ground and pound situation. And one time he raised his arm up to punch a dude. He raised his arm up too high. Dude grabbed his hand, like thrusted his hips up, grabbed his arm with his legs, bent this dude backwards and put his ass in the arm bar just that quick and had my man tapping out. Feel me? Yeah, these dudes ain't for play. And we'll see if Greg Hardy finds out that, yeah, this ain't the thing that you want to just, trying to just F around with a little bit. Like, yeah, let me just dibble and dabble in this mixed martial arts situation. These dudes kick ass for real and hurt people for real, B. So, for the ladies, the feminists, for the male feminists, for people who just like to see people get their ass kicked because you think they deserve it, there you have it. Courtesy of your boy Big Mike. You know what I mean? Let's see what else. I wanted to talk about this Harvey Weinstein thing for a minute, but I'll save it until, I'll save it till Wednesday because it's a lot to get into. This whole situation where, like, just real quick, black people, do this. I know you want to do the whole, white privilege situation. This ain't the one you want. Like, you don't want to plant your flag with Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? You don't want to do the whole, well, when it was Bill Cosby, y'all was doing this, but y'all not doing this. You don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Let Bill Cosby, let that ride, B. He's a scumbag, just like Harvey Weinstein, just like the dude in the White House. They birds of a feather. There's nothing you're going to say to just defend Harvey or defend Bill Cosby as it relates to Harvey Weinstein, B. Don't, find something else, cuz there's plenty other ways, other places you can plant your I am black flag. It's not with Bill Cosby. That's one that you just kind of you got to give him that one. You know what I mean? You just got to wave the white, surrender that one. You know what I mean? And keep it moving. Let's get out of here for the evening, man. Let's watch some of this bad football. Plus, I got some work to do. Big L, appreciate you, homie. Stop it, man. Yeah, Terry Crews and what's the dude's name from Seventh Heaven, the white boy? Yeah, they got felt up by cats too, trying to get into the movie business or the Hollywood game. Yeah, I got felt up the other day. I went to the doctor for a freaking physical. That's some of the most uncomfortable stuff, man. I'm not. Well, we'll talk about it on Wednesday, man. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, man. Big L, I am No Doze. My folk here, Omar Holloway, Tom Gully on Facebook. Appreciate you guys checking in, hollering at your boy. We'll come back hump day, man. We'll do it all over again. Hopefully have a little bit more stuff to talk about, have some developments in this Colin Kaepernick situation and so forth and so on. Don't forget to tell your friends, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a damn friend. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube. You can catch the show on demand all day, every day on those outlets. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Like my Facebook page at @1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And remember one thing, as always, all you need is one mic.